just start on an incredibly hot topic. What's your take? I feel like you have a philosophy degree, in theory.
In theory. Well, no, actually, that one's real. that one's not.
Wait, do you have a fake degree?
Well, no, but I mean, so much of philosophy is like what even is real, bro? But like I'm saying, the degree is. There's a physical degree.
There is a physical degree. I mean, like we never really graduated from college, though. If you think about it, like we never had a graduation ceremony.
Also, we're 30 seconds into this, and I'm breaking rule number 1. I'm eating.
Oh God, no, dude! Come on, dude! I
haven't had a single
my whole lunch around this.
I haven't had a single fucking calorie today. I need to get this protein bar in me.
Is that a pure protein? What is that? What brand of protein bar is that?
This.
Oh. I can't. Your thing is blurring it out.
God damn it!
Is it a think?
Yeah.
Think protein? Are those good?
No, they're shit. But the macros are elite. So,
dude, I had a Quest bar fairly recently, and let me tell you, those things do not hold up.
They are so fucking awful.
They're disgusting.
I literally, because of how many I ate when I had mono, I will never eat a Quest bar ever again in my life.
That was like my go-to snack in college was like the fucking 0-calorie Monster and a Quest bar and an apple.
Which looking back on it is like, oh, maybe that's why I felt like shit all the time. But
maybe that's why I felt so bad. No, I don't know. I feel like I felt pretty good. I think my massive stimulant consumption is probably more like the issue here.
Yeah, I've cut all. I only consume caffeine through coffee. I've been on a good stretch now, where no pre-workout, no energy drinks. I cut the pre, which sucked balls. And I still don't think my lifting is as good. Like 2 months into this. But
so why did you do it? Why did you decide to stop?
I was like, I had a whole feeling nervous of like breakdown. I had a nervous breakdown where I went down a rabbit hole of, and I know this is stupid because comparing caffeine to literal steroids is dumb, but I went down that rabbit hole of watching all the YouTube videos of like why bodybuilders die young. And I just got paranoid about putting shit in my body. And I was like, I'm past the point in my life where I think that in order to like communicate with women, I need to be like bodybuilder level shredded. And
how did that ever get fucking sold to us, by the way? What a load of shit.
So fucking Instagram, YouTube, all that shit. But anyways, I just want to like, I had this weird like realization of like, which sounds kind of gay, but it's like, oh, I kind of actually just want to like feel good rather than like maximize how I look.
Oh no, you're an adult now.
Yeah, dude. I know.
That's one of the signs of it.
It was really fucking scary. So I've removed all my like traditional body washes and face washes and shit, and got you know all those Dr. Squatch ads you see on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've gotten into that. I like only drink black coffee, which I've always done, but that's the only way I get caffeine in me. Mm-hmm. I'm like pretty strict. I've been pretty strict with my diet for a couple of months now, and I'm like, I don't know, all this shit and like trying to like deal with depression in a healthy way, and it's not actually helping, but whatever.
It's not actually helping.
No.
So this is all to manage depression. This is like not to feel like, do you feel physically any less shitty than you did before?
I'm having, the only, it's ironic you asked the question that way. The only like notable thing that I feel really different in is like my digestion is better.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. But also I've been on a, Delta 8 weed.
Yeah.
This, the 3 cheat.
Yeah.
I've been on, that shit has saved me being able to go to sleep. And like, I think that has played more of a role in fixing my stomach than anything else. Just helping me feel calm at night. Every night I go to bed, like makes such a big difference in how I feel in the morning.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I've just been using like real weed, not that Delta 8 shit, because I don't live in a cucked state.
Yeah, I live in a fucking, I live in, as far as New England goes, maybe Maine's more. But I might be the most Trumpy state in New England.
Dude, Maine is fucking crazy.
We are the live free or die state. Like we are pretty fucking crazy.
Which should mean that you guys are like on board with weed and like and everything. And yet I don't know what's going on up there.
That is true. Yeah, we don't have to wear helmets on motorcycles and we don't have to wear seatbelts in cars, but we can't buy weed.
God, it's so cucked.
Yeah, it is pretty cucked. I also just don't like know anyone where I live, so unless weed gets legal, like I wouldn't know where to buy it. But like,
I mean, you could drive to Mass, right?
Yeah, no, I easily could, and I think Vermont. So Vermont. This fucking blows my mind. It's legal in Vermont, but there's only 2 places in the whole state where you can buy it.
What?
They sort of took the like New Hampshire liquor route where there's like like you can't sell liquor in New Hampshire grocery stores, only in distinct like liquor stores where they can regulate it and whatever the fuck.
Those big red barn things where you can buy like liquor without tax.
Like a barn with liquor or whatever I
gotta make a run up there.
But they did the same thing in Vermont with weed, where it's like there's one right on the southern border and one right on the border of Canada. And there's only 2 places in the whole state where you can buy it. So they're screwing over. I mean, in a state that literally almost has more freaking cows than people, and they can never make enough money off of taxes to fund shit. Like they're fucking up. Like I don't know why there's not a weed store in every goddamn town.
Is it like I want to say like HOA, but like regulatory body thing where everyone's just like scared of it because they're afraid that like if they allow weed, like something bad's going to happen.
It's certainly
black
possible.
people will show up.
I could imagine
because everyone's just crazy racist in Vermont.
Yeah, I could imagine it's a bunch of like 50 to 70-year-old guys who are like self-aware enough that they know they can't be like overtly like racist or like anti-weed or whatever, but they clearly are. So they're like, look, like I understand the logic behind it, and you know, I agree with what they're trying to accomplish, you know, but like when I think about like my daughter, like if she was smoking weed, I would be uncomfortable. Whatever the fuck,
I would disown her.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's some of that at play. Boy, I'm gonna have some interesting over the course of however long I'm still living here. One of my jobs right now is that one of my jobs is working for a local TV station. So I'm off shooting all these local like government meetings, and it is fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah. This was awesome, dude.
I went to the town across from me 2 weeks ago. It was my first school board that I went to. I've been to a bunch of select boards, which I don't know if you're familiar with the difference.
Yeah.
Well, school board is obvious, but select board is like shit that the state government is too bored to deal with, so they do the towns. So it's all about like is this sidewalk gonna be like 20 feet versus 15 feet? Like, let's talk about it for 2 hours.
Fascinating shit, dude.
Yeah. But man, they get so fucking heated. But there's this guy who comes to every school board meeting, and the way that this town sets it up, which is not how you have to, because this isn't how every town that I've been to does it. They start it with public comment, and there's this like 60-year-old grandfather who gets up and goes on an anti boys and girls bathroom speech every single time to start the meeting. As in, like, all bathrooms should be gender neutral, or like what is? No, like all bathroom, like only kids with dicks should be allowed in boys' bathrooms, and like you need a dick to go in this. And
gotcha. Okay, so just do like, no, dude, I'm 100% on board with that. We should absolutely have genital inspectors in front of every bathroom, dude. We could hire. I mean, like, you want to talk about creating jobs? I mean, that's a job creation program right there. Every bathroom in the whole township would need to have a genital inspector.
You know what that is? That's a great program to round up all the pedophiles in the country.
Yeah, dude,
and exterminate them.
If you sign up for this.
If you last at that job for more than a few months, you clearly have no other motivation other than you want to see little kids like dicks.
That's it, man. I was going to say we could use it for like exposure therapy for like convicted. Oh God.
But yeah, this guy goes on this rant every single time, and the guy who's chair of the school board it's like policy or whatever. You have to be like, thank you for your comment. We will, whatever. Like they have to, no matter what. And he goes every single time. He goes, thank you for your comment. I like something along the lines of like, thank you for your comment. I appreciate your point of view. However, the rules regarding bathroom use is a statewide law that we have no say over. The only reason it has come up in our meetings in the past is because we are talking about how to implement this state law. We literally have zero control over this. Please, I mean, without saying it, he's like, please shut the fuck up and stop coming to our goddamn meetings. Like you're a 60-year-old rich man living in an Ivy League bubble in New England. Like find some other shit to do with your life other than go to every single school board meeting and complain about your granddaughter having to see a boy in her bathroom. But whatever.
Well, yeah, what is this guy's motivation?
He's just like, he's one of those, people who are like, there are a lot of people who are really smart and really successful in life, but they have just zilch self-awareness. And like the idea that no one else has thought of their perspective, like never crosses their mind. So this guy has like convinced himself that he has a moral obligation because he's the only one in the town who has thought of this concern about like what if like a young boy decides to be inappropriate and like stalk girls in the bathroom, like I need to protect. I don't know. I think he genuinely has convinced himself that like he has an ethical obligation to keep doing this. So I can't think of anything else.
Dude.
Yeah.
He's the last stand between America and moral decay.
And what's so funny about it too is like, I guarantee you every time he sees his granddaughter, like he initiates the conversation every time. I don't think his granddaughter gives a fuck that there maybe is one or two 12-year-old boys who sometimes use the girls' bathroom. I mean, maybe she does, but can you imagine like every family dinner, the grandfather's like, so, like, how was your experience going to the bathroom at school the past couple of weeks? Like, any boys coming in there to bother you? Anything I can report to the school board to get my point across?
The parents are just like face palming while this is happening. It's just an awkward family event all around.
No, I mean,
dude,
if the parents aren't there, if the parents don't care, what the hell are you doing? You're the grandfather, dude. Find something else to do with your time.
Find a new cause. Do you have like any older relatives or like family friends or anything? Like 60 plus, ideally.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a boomer thing or what, but I feel like they're more prone to extrapolating anecdotes to like policy prescriptions. Like, I know one guy who's,
yeah, no,
on welfare. Yeah.
I somehow the basics of there are lots of like flawed argumentation styles, and it feels like certain people just never got that lesson in school or something, or maybe they're so far removed from school that they like forget. I don't know. But that definitely is common.
That maybe comes to mind is that like if you're not like an avid user of the internet, the idea that you can like real-time fact check people and like pull up stats or whatever, like on the fly, is just like, it just really throws them for a loop. Like my grandfather on my dad's side, like definitely leans more conservative. Sometimes he'll just like throw shit out there. He's like, I heard the unemployment rate is, 15-16%. And then like I pull it up and it's like, actually nationally, it's like it's right around 5.1%. And this is as of September. He's like, well, I don't know about that, but there's a lot of people who aren't working. So it's like, all right, well, I guess like this just doesn't, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The power of the narrative.
That definitely is the case. Narratives over, so I'm really involved in sports Twitter. This is just funny. I'm using an anecdote to support my whatever. Who the hell cares? But the ongoing joke in like sports Twitter is that like wins are temporary, narratives last forever. And yeah, I think that sort of way of that's how human beings interact with each other, and that's how we take in news. And the other problem is that we don't know how to like. There are so many times where you could fact check someone so easily. I don't think we know how to do that in a productive way. That like a lot of the time I go to do that and I feel like I'm being rude.
Yes, yeah, because it's such like a weird thing. Where in reality, it's like someone's beliefs, especially if they're like erroneous, that shouldn't like define who they are as a person. It's just like I thought I knew something, turns out I was wrong. Oh well.
Yeah, we need to somehow like get it in. I don't know. Maybe this needs to be a class in school. Like learn how to be wrong. You goddamn idiot. But yeah, people. I mean, it's a problem with everyone. Certainly me too. Like I'm not gonna pretend like I can be told I'm wrong, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was wrong. That's no problem. But like no one knows how to be wrong, and like so when that's the premise, then what's the point of like showing up to like a school board meeting to talk about like whatever transgender issues or whatever the hell?
Yeah,
because if someone cites like national statistics about like I don't know, I don't even know where you would go with that, but like incidents that have occurred as opposed to like trans kids suicides, and like the numbers support that this is a better whatever you want to go to, it won't matter for that guy. It won't even come close to mattering because they'll be like, well, what if it happens to my granddaughter?
Just like the immediacy of that. Yeah,
there's no way that you can't intergenerational political dialogue is impossible. I guess
I don't know about impossible, but I would definitely say it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know if I've ever like had it happen successfully.
But there are some things though that like last forever, in that we are inevitably in like 20 years and even more so in like 40 years going to look back at 20-year-olds and be like kids these days just don't get it on certain things, and they're going to be like, no, you goddamn boomer, like this is actually what social progress looks like. Stop living in the fucking 2010s. So some of that's just going to go on forever, and whatever. And maybe we should just have like a maximum age limit, and like once you hit, I don't know, once you hit 62 or whatever, we just off you. I don't know.
You're just dead. And I gotta wonder if the rate of change of societal progress is like something that you get used to, like throughout most of, I guess I'll just say human history, but really up till like the early to mid 20th century, like your life would more or less look pretty similar to your parents' life in a lot of ways. In like societal norms would be generally pretty similar. And we've witnessed in the past like 3 generations that is like very clearly no longer the case. And I gotta wonder if a lot of like the Gen Z or like late millennial, early Gen Z attitude or whatever the fuck we are is maybe slightly less prone to some of that stuff just because we're so used to a comparatively rapid pace of change.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of putting it. And it's important to remember, like when we're making fun of our grandparents, that like they grew up and like black people weren't allowed to drink out of the same water fountain as them.
Yeah,
like that's all in the same lifetime. So yeah, that's definitely true. We're going through a big. We're going through a lot of change very fast, which like could either end like great or like too much change like fucks up the system, and we've got like the end of like the current like political system of established countries that we've had for the past 350 years might just like stop. Who the hell knows? But I don't know,
because it will trigger like reactionary blowback, just because that like the derivative or the rate of change can only get so high before you just like hit some kind of societal backlash.
Yeah, I guess it's possible. Whatever. I used to be like care more about these things, and now I feel like part of getting older is just like, and not that I'm old, but like part of like being like out of college and like not as angsty about the world anymore is like what's gonna happen is just what's gonna happen, and I'm not gonna concern myself over whether, I don't know. But
do you feel like there's like a gulf in between like you and the people you know who are like still in college in terms of just like views on the world and shit?
Yeah, I definitely like coming home and living in a college town as a college graduate now. Like, God, it took like 2 months, and I could not hate college students more than I currently do. Goddamn, like when I have to leave my one job at noon and get back here and have lunch and get ready to start my other job at 1. Like when these motherfuckers are just crossing the road wherever the hell they want, and I have to wait for like 2. I've gotten to the point where I roll down my windows because I'm about to start yelling, and I haven't actually yelled yet. But I'm 25, and I don't think I'm gonna last till 26 before I start yelling at college students to like learn how to fucking cross the street. And I assume that they're all just dumb idiots going through their like whatever like communist phase like I did, where they don't give a shit about rules or whatever the hell, like whatever any of us went through, where we're all angsty and dumb and in college. When we look back on it, yeah, it's like I kind of am the same exact person, but I also look back at myself in college and be like, I was an idiot. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember what your question was, but I do like hate college students and think they're dumb. I think that's kind of what your question was.
Yeah, that's exactly that's it, man. What do you think? Like, what made? I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this like the way I want to. Do you think that like that colleges are in fact a bubble? Because I was like kind of resistant to this idea, but now I think it's like kind of
I mean, yeah. They're a big time bubble, but what they represent are all the different like factions of like quote unquote real life, just in a much smaller scale. So I don't think it's a bubble in that it's like inherently different than the rest of the world. I just think it's like a bunch of things that you will run into as an adult just occurring on a much smaller scale regarding like different like social groups and who's included and what, and class issues and whatever the hell. It's all just going on in a much smaller community. So it feels like a bubble because it's happening in one place. I don't know. Maybe that's how I would think about it.
That's a pretty interesting observation, actually. That seems like that roughly tracks. I mean, I can't see why that's wrong. So yeah, sure, dude. It seems like a good theory to me.
But then there's like, I mean, I don't even know if it's bubble like, but there are just aspects of the way you're living that are fake. And as far as who you live with, where you live, like your day-to-day routine, all that. I don't know if that's like bubble. I don't know if that's what we mean by when we say bubble.
And it's also worth noting that we went to like a super fake school.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't think I cooked myself a meal when I was in school.
Yeah.
For like probably a whole time.
I'm trying to think if I ever did. I mean, like I microwaved shit when the dining hall was closed.
I don't know if that counts as cooking per se.
I don't think that counts as. I certainly smelled a lot of cooking with there were like people whose like Friday night, which blew my mind. It's like, this is the one time of your life where it's like acceptable to do just the stupidest shit in the world on your Friday nights. Like, why is your Friday night routine like, for certain people just to like cook? But
yeah. In retrospect, now I'm doing that. I'm like, maybe I had the right idea. You just get like a nice buzz on and like do some cooking and sit down and eat a nice meal. I kind of hate,
dude, I get so lonely when I'm cooking by myself. Like if I'm making a meal just for me, it's so depressing. I hate it.
Do you cook for just yourself or your family?
Wait, I never cook for
you're living at home, right?
I'm living at home, but my brother and sister are both gone. So it's just me and my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm kind of sometimes she'll make dinner for both of us, but for them, maybe she would say that she makes dinner for me most of the time. But I don't know. I need to think about it. But yeah, for the most part, I'm on my own for food. But I don't know. I have such a bad relationship with food. I hate food, so I just have no good associations with making my own dinner or anything.
Dude, maybe it's time to try the carnivore diet. Just saying.
I do eat. I mean, I eat a lot of meat. I don't shy away from meat, but I also like. The thing is, I think for so long I've gone down so many like YouTube rabbit holes of like, if I can just change this one thing about my diet or my workout routine or whatever, like the rest of my life will figure itself out. And I kind of want to stop doing that because I think it's very unhealthy. So I'm trying to just like eat like generic healthy foods and like do generic like healthy things. And then like, I don't know, like instead of like dealing with my social anxiety by only eating meat and like cutting out the like whatever cancer that is like processed carbohydrates, like maybe I'll just like go to like some like dumb event that I'm like uncomfortable in and like work on it. I don't know.
That's probably, I mean, that's a much smarter idea, is to like actually address the problem rather than just like poking at it by doing all kinds of weird shit that, let's be honest, makes everyone just think you're like a fucking weirdo anyway.
Yeah, I don't think like I'm not gonna become like a womanizer by like being like my most unique personality trait is that like I only eat steak. Like I also don't want to like be that weirdo who like can't go out and have drinks with people and like can't be like included in lots of social events because I've got all these like it'd be one thing if I like had like health reasons or like moral reasons, but if instead I'm just like my goal in life is to be as close to Jordan Peterson as is possible, so therefore I only eat steak, deal with it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a red flag right there.
I don't think it'll actually make me happy in the long run. As sort of like dumb, and I hate that sentence because it's like gay, but like
doing things that makes you happy is gay. True.
But there are different kinds of, there's like healthy happy and unhealthy happy, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's like fake happiness and then like real and all sorts of like, yeah. So I'm going through a lot of that, like trying to become an adult now. And it let me tell you, it's terrible. but like you got to do it at some point, right? Like I can't spend my whole life like where my whole social life is like centered around like YouTube trends.
Yeah, that's probably not good. But like counterpoint, why not? Isn't that just like what being a streamer is? Like you just immerse yourself in internet culture and never come up for air.
The moment I got deep into like internet culture was like the moment my depression hit another level, and I've never recovered.
I've never recovered.
I've been like unironically, I've been in and out of depressive states since I was 16 years old. And that was when I first got like deep into YouTube. And I really think that there's a direct correlation between like being told from a bajillion different points of view that I need to fix this about my life in order to be happy and successful, that I feel like I'm literally cannot, even if I didn't sleep for a year straight, like I don't have enough time in my day to do all the things that I need to do in order to be like ultra Chad, businessman, musician, like ripped, whatever the heck everyone is saying I need to do.
Platonic ideal that you need to aspire to.
Yeah.
Do you think is that correlation or causation? Like the depression and watching bullshit life advice shit on YouTube.
Well, the thing is, what's ironic about it is a lot of it's not bullshit life advice. I don't think. I think.
I phrased that badly.
There's a lot of truth to a lot of the like self-help and like how to be more productive and a lot of that, like how to get into good shape. You know what foods are good to eat and whatever. There's a lot of like true information. It's just too like the brain can only process so much before I start to feel like a failure. Regarding the correlation causation thing. Oh man. I think a lot of these like young growing men on like a societal level, like a lot of these insecurities like exist just naturally in human nature. And like, we're like 12 years old and like all of a sudden like, oh shit, I actually kind of want to like talk to a girl now. And then, so I just think I don't know. I would need to think more about the difference between correlation and causation as it relates to all this crap. But I think it's like exacerbated times a million with all of this, like, because the people who are making the YouTube channels and the people who are successful, a lot of it comes down to fundamentally just like, you know, the like, are you on, this is really weird, but are you on like Tinder, Reddit at all? Have you ever?
No, I'm not on Tinder, Reddit at all.
There's the ongoing joke, which is like, in order to get matches on Tinder, just follow these 2 rules. And the first rule is be attractive. And the second rule is like follow rule 1 or like whatever the hell the meme is. And I think that that's kind of part of the problem is that like the people who make it on YouTube, like whether or not they're actually living the life they claim to be in their videos, like they're attractive people who come across as if they're living the perfect life. And so that's where it fucks you up. It's not even the advice in the videos. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know who a good example is, but I'm not who is the first guy who started doing like YouTube ads, and he's like, come to my course and like look at my house with all these Lamborghinis and shit.
Ty Lopez, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, but he wasn't even that like fantastic looking. He's not the best example.
There's so many of those fucking people, dude. Their whole shtick is just like this. This is bullshit life advice, though, which is just like, do my course and I will teach you how to make money by making a course and selling it to people.
Yeah, I mean, that's like taking advantage of young kids, which is different than like life advice. Like if someone's selling you something in their video, that's like a whole different. I view it entirely separately, as it's like an entire separate category of video than someone who's not selling you something in the video. They're just.
But aren't they all selling you a lifestyle if you think about it?
Well, yeah, no, you're right. They're selling something, and they all have a motivation, which is to like get followers and get attention, and maybe some of them actually care about like. But I don't know. Like, how does anyone care? Like, if I'm happy and I found a productive routine that works for me, why do I give a shit if other 20-year-old guys are following my routine or not? Like, I can't imagine any of them are so inspired by like wanting other guys to like learn, like, all right, if you just meditate for 15 minutes in the morning and then you go and exercise and then you like shut your phone off for 4 hours and like be like who wants to convey that information to other people so badly that they have like genuine good intent in uploading those videos?
I have a few hypotheses here. One of which is just like straight up narcissism. Like, I don't want to rule that out entirely. I don't know if it's like the most common one, but I think there's definitely like a fair few people out there who are just like straight up narcissists and just want to talk about themselves. I think there's other people who are kind of like, fuck it, well, I'll just like make this. They probably like enjoy the process of making the video as well. It's easy content. And then like, if it takes off, great. If not, who gives a fuck? They're just making it to make it because they think it's cool, or it's because it's content that they would want to see. Right.
Yeah.
I think it probably everything roughly breaks down along those lines, or it's just like self-promotion, which kind of ties into the narcissism thing. But it's just like, look at how great I am. And then, you know, if you just like, this is shit, you just do things for attention. And then the more attention you have, it doesn't even matter if you have like a product or not to sell immediately. You can eventually parlay that into money somehow.
Yeah.
Once you got people looking at you, then just like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's easy, but
I feel like everyone who starts any of this genre of YouTube channel, like it's like instead of like going and getting therapy to deal with all their insecurities, it's like, this is going to be my outlet. I'm just going to get more and more attention to affirm the things that I'm insecure about. And then, yeah, I don't know. People like a good example of that, I think, is like Alpha M, like that guy.
God, dude,
I think is just, and Teaching Men's Fashion, the other one, who, when I was going through insecurities about what I was wearing when I started to date, you know who, I like, that was a channel I got super into, and it's just so clear that they're like, their whole business model is just like taking advantage of insecure 16-year-olds, and in a way, it also like makes them feel better about. It makes them feel better about like how good they look, or that whatever, that they've got it all figured out. It's a way of like affirming all the shit that they're insecure about.
Dude, to be fair, Alpha M is just like very nakedly just trying to compensate for the fact that he's like 5'3".
Yeah.
Which is
anyone who makes that kind of content who's short, I assume it all boils down to insecurities about their height.
One must assume. How tall is he actually?
I think he's like somewhere in the 5'4", 5'6" range. He might not even be that short. I know that so a couple of years ago when I was really into this specific genre of YouTube, he did a collab with the Teaching Men's Fashion guy, and that guy just so happens to be like 6'5", so he made him look like a literal midget.
Apparently he's 5'6", but he's definitely adding a solid couple inches, right?
He wears like shoes that make him look taller, and his hair products like make his hair like poof off the top of his head.
Dude, the hair thing is does that actually work? If you just have like tall hair, like visually, I can see the logic.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm sure it must
like, puff out their cheeks, right?
I think for anyone who's that short, like I'm not that short. I'm I'm not even sure if I'm bordering on it. I think I'm 5'11". Like, I don't know where the cutoff line is to the point where there's no way around being insecure about it. I think if you're under 5'8", maybe if you're 5'7" or shorter as a guy, you're probably no matter what going to be insecure about it.
Yeah. So 5'9" is the average height for an American male.
Yeah, but also we're getting taller with each generation, right?
Yeah.
Or is that beginning to stop?
I feel like that may have sloped off.
Okay.
Here, hold on. Standard deviation of 3 inches. So that means that if you're if you're
5'5" or shorter, then you're officially out of the standard.
If you're taller than 6 feet, you are in the top. What is it in a normal distribution? So 68% of men are between 6 feet and 5'6". So if you're below 5'6", yeah. So what would that be? 84%. So if you're more than 6 feet, you're in the top 16%.
Yeah. So you're a 16%er. And you're actually, because what are you, 6'3"?
No, I'm like 6'1".
Oh, really? Like I don't know why I thought you were.
No,
damn. Well,
yeah. I'm sure
maybe you're more alpha than you thought you were or something.
No,
I thought you were like 6'3".
Definitely
is Noah taller than you?
No, Noah is slightly taller than me.
Oh, so maybe he's 6'2".
Noah's limb lengths fuck everything up though, because like from a visual processing standpoint, like my brain just doesn't know what to make of him.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we'll have to someday look at the Noah on one of these.
The Noah, dude, it's a shame that Noah never got serious about working out because he could have like a monster deadlift.
He totally could. The thing with Noah though is like, well, whatever. I don't want to. It's content that needs to get cut because no one knows who we're talking about. So I don't want to go down the rabbit hole for too long. But he genuinely just, and this like sounds like a joke, but I don't even think it. Like he has enough sex where like a lot of these insecurities just aren't even there for him. So.
You mean about the deadlifting thing? Yeah, dude. I'm not even talking about from like a oh, you need to like have or like to get him laid. I'm just talking about actualizing human potential.
Oh yeah,
it's just like a waste of long arms to like.
But he's got a really long and like his back is all like weird, and I feel like his back's about to snap at any given moment. I don't know. His legs are kind of long. If he had the arm, and leg proportions he does, and he was like 5'8", then he might be like be able to go like pro. But or maybe not even 5'8", but he needs to. I feel like he's too lanky. Like something's gonna snap in that chain of deadlifting a lot of money, or a lot of money. I don't know where money.
A lot of money.
Damn. He's so in my head. I assume he has all the money and all the strength, I guess.
He's got all the money, all the strength, and all the women. This is now a Noah's Simp podcast.
Yeah. It's so funny. We always gave him so much shit. But he's killing it. I think he's killing life. So
dude, he is killing life.
Yeah.
What is he up to these days? Is he still doing his PhD program?
Yeah, he's getting a PhD. He's hanging out with a bunch of other people who are getting PhDs. So he's like networking amongst a bunch of super successful science people, and he's off like partying every weekend and having a bunch of sex, and like that's his life. I think.
God damn, dude.
I think he goes to the lab. He spends time with his cat. He watches sports and he has sex, and that genuinely is like all that matters to him.
He's doing it. I mean, that's everything he wanted.
Yeah. That's all. He's content with that, and he knows it, and so good for him, I guess. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Noah. Maybe
we will see
a depressive episode.
I feel like I feel like he's prone to on occasion.
Yeah, but like the only big sad from Noah was his breakup. I don't think anything other than that was like terrible event for him. But he's also like. I don't know about you. He was much better than me at like when he goes through a big sad moment of like, he's like, all right, I've got these other priorities in my life that like matter to me. So he like didn't stop doing any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It helps if you can just lean on all the other shit you have going on. I know when I went through my breakup, I started a new job at like the exact same time.
Yeah.
And also moved like a third of the way across the country. So that like helped a lot, I feel like. Otherwise, I probably just would have become a complete wreck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of my problem is I've got too much time on my free hands. I need to find a full-time job and like move somewhere. Because working part-time jobs and like living in a place where I've got no friends is like not a great recipe for moving on in life, you know. But I'll figure it out. Anyways, this is not a mental health.
this is the mental
hour.
Health. Yeah, mental health hour.
It's kind of what we're trying to avoid, I think, right?
Let's be honest, this isn't going up anywhere. So as long as we're just getting loose, getting practice, and honestly, probably what's going to help is if we do this, if we try a follow-up at some point during the week. If I'm like 2 beers in, it's just going to be much better.
Yeah. I think some of the stuff we were doing at the beginning was fine. But yeah, we obviously like can't go down rabbit holes of talking about people that like, or we can talk about whoever. It just has to be in a relatable way to like, if you tell a story about someone, or we go into depth about Noah, where like part of the premise as to why we're talking about is funny is because we know him in real life, then it doesn't work as well.
I feel like on the other hand, though, if for example this were to get released, then we could have leverage over Noah that he has to come on and like defend
his honor,
clear his name.
But the thing is, I think everything we said would have just boosted his ego.
Well, we don't have to tell him that. We don't, because he's not going to fucking listen to this.
So we have to pretend to talk shit about him.
Yeah.
And
what would really get on Noah's nerves?
I think, as like cheesy and dumb as it is, and it wouldn't even be that funny, I think something as simple as like us claiming publicly that we like have more sex, or just something along those like.
Yeah, but that's not believable.
It has to be something that simplistic. Like, I don't think he cares about other shit.
No, dude, I feel like I've gotten him riled up about things that like just don't matter. But it's never something that I would have thought, though.
Then I would need to think about it more, because I don't know what. He doesn't care enough about like there's no like, we can't get into a debate on like I don't know, pronouns or like anything to do with like social issues and like politics and any of that.
Just go like, yeah, I don't really give a fuck, and then that'll be the end of the conversation.
Anything that will potentially get in his way of, like, I don't know, he doesn't care and he doesn't want to care, and that's fine. I'm sure there's some dumb thing that we'll think of at some point that all makes sense. Well, anyways, before we sign off, shall we change topics and talk about something dumb like a movie or whatever?
Let's talk about, have you bought or pre-ordered your state-sanctioned copy of Call of Duty Vanguard yet?
No, because I'm waiting for I'm waiting for COVID or whatever the heck needs to end in order for the new generation of consoles to like be available,
dude,
before I buy any new games.
I got bad news for you. That's going to be probably most of the supply chain estimation I've seen is like mid 2022 to late 2022.
Yeah, so I'm just not going to play video games for a while. I mean, I do play some, like I play like MLB The Show on my PS4, but I'm not trying to like give up on them and be like, in order to be like an adult now, it's like no more video games, but I'm trying to like do it less and focus on other productive things, so I'm not like totally concerned by it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll just wait. And the other thing is like, I don't have like I'm working 2 part-time jobs, but I'm not like in like adult mode of like working like 1 full-time job, living on my own.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to have like a more steady income stream before I start. Because it's going to be, whenever that day comes, it's going to be such a big investment of buying a new console, I don't own any 4K monitors or anything. I want to get that so I could actually like enjoy it. And then buying the game itself, like that'll just be a big investment whenever that day comes, but I'm not there yet. And I'm also I'm at a point where I've made I probably won't stay true to this, but like, I kind of want to commit to it. Like if I'm alone, I never want to play Call of Duty alone ever again. Like that is such a dark part of my history and how involved I got in that I'm like, I need to be over that franchise. I can't keep returning to the same game and expect like it's going to make me like feel good after how long I've been doing it. I kind of need to move on to something different.
That's respect, honestly. Damn, that is not the answer I thought I was going to get at all.
Also, what part of this? Had the last COD been like good, I maybe wouldn't be saying the last COD being the worst COD to have ever been released definitely plays a part in this, and that I've had no
this is the conversation I thought we were going to have. Was that? Do you think Modern Warfare 2019 was like the last gasp of that franchise?
Yeah. I mean, it's possible they make some sort of comeback or whatever, but from the perspective of like what is a good Call of Duty game, I thought that game was phenomenal for the most part. Mm-hmm. There was so much room for customization, and there were lots of things that could lead you to not get bored of it, and there was lots of grinding, and so like had that been a game where I was new to the industry and I was still in high school or whatever, like I'm sure I would have gotten just as hooked, if not more, than when I was back playing Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 1 and whatever. Yeah, I thought that was a great game, and who knows, maybe they'll never get back to that. From everything I've seen, like people seem to be more positive about the one coming out this year than the one last year, and it's on the Modern Warfare engine, right?
Yeah, well, that's the biggest complaint I've seen about it is that it's just a Modern Warfare reskin, which honestly isn't the worst thing ever. But like in terms of
when does it take place? Cold War?
It's World War II, but
well, then how could it be as in it's like just like the same game but with like World War II looks?
Yeah, basically.
I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, like so they're in a weird spot, right? Because when they were in their prime, Infinity Ward and Treyarch both killed it in very separate ways.
Yeah.
But now Infinity Ward had a few screw ups. Treyarch was like always kind of nailed it, and then all of a sudden they just don't. Like their past two games have been hot. They've gone from Black Ops 1, 2, and 3 being just universally loved for the most part.
Well, 3 was a little contentious.
3 was a little more contentious, but it was like by like the like YouTube COD world, like a lot of them loved it and they grinded that game hard. And like people who really put in the hours, like had no issue with grinding that game. I've never, the thing for me is like, I've never been even, I enjoyed Black Ops 1, but I've never enjoyed a Treyarch game the way I have Infinity Ward games.
Why do you think
I'm weird in that way?
For someone who's like passingly familiar with the series, what sets those two studios apart in their approach?
I think I liked Treyarch always felt a little more, with the exception of Black Ops 1. They always, to me, it felt like a more of an arcade style, like flashy colors, looks cool, takes place in these like cool, modern or futuristic, and it has nothing to do with the setting as much as it is like, man, I would need to think about how to word this. Like, like the camos and everything got like really flashy and colory. And, and the kill streaks were good, but they were unique to Treyarch in that, dogs and all that. But you sort of maxed out there at your. The biggest part for me, I think, was just the difference between having a nuke and not having a nuke. And I think it might be as simple as that, in that what hooked me on Modern Warfare 3, and that was the game where I put in the most hours. I think I had like 30 days played or something. I don't remember. But it was always like, what motivated me to get back on every day was like the grind of trying to like get my first, like, I always called them Mobs. I think they were like Moabs or whatever, the mother of all bomb from that game. And I love the Infinity Ward, where you can choose to not have kill streaks and instead have like perk streaks, where like when you go on kill streaks, you gain more perks. Like that was always the thrill of being on like an 8 kill streak and having every perk in the game and going for a nuke, which was like happened so rarely compared. Like the thing with Treyarch games is if I grinded them the way I did with Infinity Ward games, I could get to a point where, probably once or twice every session, I would get dogs or a chopper gun or whatever the heck the kill streak was. And it just like wasn't, I was like, okay, cool. Like I like had 1 or 2 games where I went off and went 50-5 or whatever. And like, it was fun, but there was just, the thrill wasn't there the same way. And I think it might just be as basic as the nukes, honestly.
Some people also say that there's like notable differences in like gunplay and movement.
Yeah. I mean, that was part of it too. But I think had I been super into Treyarch games, like I would have gotten super into their movement style and figured it out. But yeah, there was like because I put in the time into the Modern Warfare series, like I was better at those games than I was at Treyarch games. And so then my like motivation to grind the Treyarch games to get good at them wasn't as strong. And
what differences are there in again for the layperson here? I could never really feel it.
I wish I had a recording of me talking about this back in my prime, because I haven't. The last COD that I grinded was Infinite Warfare, right? I was about to call it Infinity. Yeah. I was about to call it Infinity Warfare. But Infinite Warfare was the last one I grinded, and that was Infinity Warfare. But that's its own unique because of the boost jumping. I don't know how to describe it. The you know how like when you hop on different shooters, like how do you describe the difference in what it feels like to like kill another player? I don't know how to describe it well, but sometimes it's more rewarding and sometimes it's not.
I guess just like, I mean, there's a variety of like sensory inputs there. Some of it is like audio cues. Mm-hmm. Some of it is even just like, how do the hit markers look? How do the hit markers feel? Like, how does the weapon sound? How does the weapon handle? How does the point pop up? Like, does that make a little noise or no? Like,
yeah,
there's like quite a few things that go into that feedback. So do you think Infinity Ward feels better or different to kill another player?
It definitely feels different. I would need to go back and play them again in order to like give any more information. Like I couldn't give any specifics to you right now, probably, as to what exactly I mean by that. But it definitely, to me, it always felt more satisfying to get a kill in an Infinity Ward game, like notably more so. And that was part of it. I feel like the kill streaks and stuff, or like streaks and everything, probably had similar looks. And I feel like both studios used the same like headshot or whatever, but maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I liked the Infinite Warfare was, ironically enough, was like one of the best experiences I had because of how good I got at it. Like, I don't know. What's weird is I look back at the like high school Call of Duties as like the prime of like social Call of Duty. The prime of, as far as like me playing was the boost jumping ones, because when you figured out how to boost jump correctly and everyone else wasn't, I was just so much better than the majority of people I was playing against, and it was incredibly fun. And there was
now. Here's a controversial question. Does the boost jumping mean that the skill ceiling is theoretically higher in those games?
Yeah, I fully believe that now, looking back on them. I think that there was more of a skill gap. And so that was part of it too, was like the more COD tried to, and I feel like everyone has this complaint and it feels kind of lame. And to a certain extent, I agree with it. The more they tried to make it an even playing field, like the more boring it got. Mm-hmm. But certainly, like changing my controller settings and configuration and all that to like maximize to be able to take advantage of boost jumping. And there was so much skill in learning how to get across the map in that game in like in a way that was effective and made it hard for other people to like aim in on you or whatever. And there were ways of running around corners that I don't know. I just had a ton of fun. And they had there was one assault rifle in that game called it was the NV4, and in hardcore, with a certain attachment, it might have been like barrel rifle, whatever. It was like didn't matter the distance on the map. It was a one-shot kill. So it was sort of like it was like quick scoping. It was like the thrill of quick scoping people, but you were using an assault rifle. And so you could just get like what I could get in that game that was a high that would hop on, that I would experience every time, even when I didn't drop a nuke, was like I once every 5 matches or so, I would have like a 5-second burst where I would kill 10 people like straight or something. And that thrill, like nothing compares to that. That was incredible.
Do you know, are you like familiar with Quake at all?
That sounds familiar, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what it is.
It's like a boomer shooter, and one of the game modes that was really popular, like obviously, like, you move really fast. There's a technique you can do called bunny hopping, where you move even faster by kind of jumping every time you hit the ground. And one really popular game mode was everyone had a railgun that was a one-hit kill.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it came down entirely to just like movement and your ability to just like twitch aim. So this sounds like very similar to kind of the appeal there. Which, a follow-up question, did you ever play Titanfall 2?
Yeah, that's actually where I was going to go next. Was like that was an underrated game, and it certainly obviously never had the player count or the intensity that a COD or any of those kinds of games got. But yeah, the I don't remember it well or that specifically, but I remember the skill gap in learning the movement was like incredible, and it was like super addicting.
Yeah.
And once you started to kind of get it at times, it was super fun. And my one friend who I do music with from around here, but he's also super into video games, mostly Call of Duty. But I remember him, he says that Titanfall 2, and this is a kid who plays every COD every year a ton. He said Titanfall 2 is one of the most positive video games experiences he's ever had.
Yeah. I feel like that's a sentiment I've heard echoed by a non-trivial number of COD aficionados.
Yeah. I wish it had blown up. I mean, it would be cool if something would blow up that wasn't COD in the way that COD, like, I don't know. That's like,
do you think that cultural moment is kind of like past us though? Just in terms of like having one like annual release game that just like blows up. It seems like it's now like games as a service, like Fortnite or Warzone or whatever. That's the new model.
Yeah. I imagine there will be something. I mean, Fortnite took off because it was the first battle royale to be accessible to like non-like gamers.
Yeah.
And so it was a new style. It had less to do with, I think, Fortnite than it did with like for people like me and a lot of other, like, or just so many people who'd never experienced the thrill of battle royale style. It was just a lot of fun. But also on the flip side of things, the movement skill gap was incredible.
Yeah.
And so that part of it was freaking awesome. Of course, I think, well, whatever. I don't want to go down a Fortnite rabbit hole, but for me, like, once it got to a point where there were notably people using keyboard and mouse in every console lobby, like then I was done with it. There was no enjoyment anymore. Because I didn't want to, I'm not a PC gamer. So I didn't want to take the time to learn how to keyboard and mouse just to get good at Fortnite again.
Yeah.
So that killed it for me. But anyways, I imagine something like that will happen again in the next 5 years, where some game will just be a new style and it'll blow up. But I don't think that there'll ever again be one series, one title that releases once every year, which is what everyone's playing.
But even though thinking about like Fortnite, like the way it blew up, if you go back to games that blew up in the early 2010s and especially the 2000s, I'm thinking of like Halo 2, Halo 3, the first Modern Warfare, the second Modern Warfare. It was like launch day was a big event. It's like a big thing. And then it like kind of peters out versus Fortnite, which was in development since like 2012 as a single player game. And then they released
it was a zombie apocalypse game.
Yeah. And then they released Battle Royale and it just kind of like picks up steam. And then it just hits critical mass and explodes.
Yeah. Yeah. God, did that game explode in such a fun way. I don't know. What weird anecdotal story. I'm not even sure if anecdote's the right use of that word, but just weird. Have you ever gotten into ASMR YouTube at all?
I don't know about getting into, but I'm like dimly aware that it exists.
I'm not like into it, but like I do every once in a while. Like it's kind of calming sometimes, and I'll just like throw on a pair of headphones and like listen. And it's sort of weird. And I would, if someone else was in the room with me, like I would never have that on. And I'm not like, I think there are people who are like I can't go to bed without an hour of ASMR first or whatever. And then there are probably a bunch of like 13-year-olds who are like, it's their weird like sexual fantasy.
For sure.
So I've never had any of that, but I do remember one of the weirder ASMR videos I stumbled across was this kid playing the zombie version of Fortnite while chewing gum and doing ASMR commentary of what he was doing. So it was like, I stumbled across it thinking, oh, this is going to be funny, like ASMR Fortnite, like him killing people and going through build battles. But no, it was just this terrible zombie apocalypse game. and I'm listening to this kid whisper about like, all right, the next wave is coming. Like what a weird experience that was. But yeah, the actual original game looked terrible. I don't know how.
Was it bad? It
looked like a game you would play on your phone. Like, you know, all those phone like the ads for like zombie games on your phone you see. To me, that's what it looks like. Like, it just wasn't that different than that. I don't know. It certainly didn't look anywhere remotely as appealing as COD Zombies.
Oh God, no. It's just like I mean, I don't know exactly who that original like vision was like marketed for, because like prior to that, like Epic had done like Gears of War was probably their biggest series, and that's a fucking tonal shift if ever there was one.
Dude, I've never in my life played Gears of War. However, I did have a friend on one of my hockey teams whose dad was the coach, so sometimes I was like at his house or whatever. His version in high school of like we didn't call them play dates in high school, but I don't know what you called them in high school when you like went over to a friend's house, just like hang out,
chilling.
But like his version of just chilling was like, all right, I'm going to play Gears of War for 3 hours and you're going to watch me.
Oh no, dude, the worst part is Gears has local co-op too. So he's just being an asshole.
Yeah. There was never anything close to an implication that he had any interest in giving up the controller, inviting you to play with him. I even had a friend who like finally was like, hey man, can I have a go? And he's like it was just, it like hadn't even occurred to him. He's like, what? Like, no, I'm in the like middle of whatever I'm doing here. Like, why would I give up my controller? Like, I'm not done yet.
Chad move.
Yeah, it was incredible. It reminded me of a friend I had at Vermont Academy where I don't know if I should, whatever, where I went to high school, who like, we all kind of loved him and hated him at the same time. He was like Texas, like complete conservative hardo, is now like a state cop in Texas, like that kind of, was a volunteer firefighter when he was there, just like insecure about his masculinity, but dealt with it by like being hardo 24/7. But man, when we would have like our Saturday night, like, all right, time to like order a pizza as a friend group and like play video games in our room and listen to music. And like, it was like our one night, because we had Saturday classes. So Saturday night was our one night where we didn't have like a strict bedtime. And it was like time to like hang out with the friends finally. And we would rotate just like open world GTA, like, you know, like you cause some violence and
and everyone else just like bullshits in the background.
There's an expectation that you initiate some like something where the cops are going to come to you and say,
right, exactly.
Inevitably you're going to die. Like, this kid would just drive around and like talk about like the truck he was driving in and would just keep going and going and going. And we'd have to be like, Nate, dude, like you got to die and hand off the controller. The rest of us are taking 15-minute shifts. You can't be playing for an hour. We got to move on, dude.
Dude, honestly, that's CEO energy right there. Like, that guy's not letting anyone tell him.
That is big time state cop. I'm gonna push the boundaries on
as far as I legally can.
I am a state cop. I might as well be like a general in the U.S. Like, I can do whatever the fuck I want whenever I want to do it. That is big time his energy, and
such fucking base, dude.
My friends in high school were all very, not all of them, the ones who were most vocal were all very conservative. So that definitely led to my like anti SJW phase back when that was like cool.
That's a fucking agenda for a follow-up episode, which hopefully will be less dark than this. Anti-SJW phase and how I feel like it's gotten so much worse on Twitter specifically. I feel like we're back in like 2016 all over again, because I feel like there was this moment where like Trump won and everyone kind of had this come to Jesus moment of like, oh shit, like the SJWs aren't like the prevailing cultural threat. Like, it's actually where either all the anti-SJW people like all either went left or went hard right.
Yeah.
And there was just no one in like the middle anymore.
Yeah, there were a lot of back in the days when I convinced first off, I wasn't aware yet of how stupid Dave Rubin was, but like, but back when I believed like, oh yeah, I'm just like a traditional liberal, bro. Like,
no, I
am a
too,
liberal,
yeah.
but I just like don't like, like I don't like women or whatever. But
I don't like.
Or
well, he is gay, so I mean, like, fair enough.
Whatever. But like I mean, I almost hate that Dave Rubin admits now that he's not liberal anymore because it was so much funnier when he was like, no, bro, like at every single policy I push for is blatantly like the modern right, but like, no, I'm the last liberal.
The last liberal. That was such a good
the
bit.
Funniest bit on the face of the planet. The last liberal to be funded by the Koch brothers.
When did he drop that, by the way? I feel like it was not recently.
It was around 2020. Yeah. Okay, yeah. It was much more recently that he's being, but he's still like, but I still do disagree with like people on the right, but like we can have normal conversations, like I'm like not totally against abortion in all cases or whatever. And that's like kind of the only thing he can list, I think, where he like disagrees with them. But yeah, I don't know, whatever. I would, it's so overdone, but I would love to have like I would love to talk about Dave Rubin for the rest of my life. I probably could.
Dude, follow-up episode. Put that on the agenda. The other thing I wanted to hit on next time is No Time to Die.
Yeah, I want to get into that.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I might watch it again at some point. I'm going to see The Last Duel. Who knows if it'll be good, but the trailer, I think, have you seen the trailers for it?
I have, and I'm like, I don't really know what's going on. Like, is it supposed to be good? I don't know. I very much like not looking at any reviews before I go to see a movie. I don't even want to be told whether or not the general consensus is that it's good or bad, because I think it informs how I view it. But that being said, I thought the trailers for The Martian looked stupid as hell. And that was a Matt Damon, Ridley Scott combo. And when I watched it a month or two ago, I thought it was like up there in one of the more enjoyable movies I've ever seen. Yeah, dude, The Martian's a fun movie.
I thought it was like really, really good and really, really fun. So I'm like, whatever, it's the same. The other thing is like, I'm from New England, right? Like if Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are in the same movie, I've got to go.
Got to see it. All right, fuck, you pushed me over the edge. I've got to go see it as well.
I've got to go see it. Although they won't have their Boston accents. If it was the exact same movie, but Matt Damon and Ben Affleck had their Boston accents, I bet it would come across as a comedy.
That would be a 9 out of 10 movie right there. Holy fuck, dude.
That's its own genre of movie, which isn't taken advantage of enough. And maybe it's just because they're, the people who are laughing their asses off it are like people from this area. But man, at any movie, the plot can be terrible. If it takes place in Boston and it's a bunch of like haddos with the accent, I will be so like content watching it. It doesn't matter what it is.
Dude, have you seen The Fighter?
I have not seen
with
The Fighter.
Christian Bale and
no, but Christian Bale's not from here.
Dude, he does the accent so fucking well. But Amy Adams is from here. And Amy Adams is from like Boston area.
I don't know.
Dude, you gotta watch. If that shit,
I'm gonna add this to the list. Shit. I haven't even heard of this. I've got such a long list of movies that I want to. There it is. It came out in 2010. That's kind of recent. Oh yeah, I got good reviews. For me,
yeah, it's a good movie.
Oh, it's Mark Wahlberg. I think Mark Wahlberg's like a bad actor. I don't really like him. But the Boston in him is hilarious. Like his character in The Departed is who he should just be for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he's a very
let me just be the character who no one likes, who's like the haddo from Boston and fucking whatever. And yeah, and that's part of like, I think The Departed would have sucked had it not been Boston based.
I don't know about it sucked, but definitely.
Have you watched the Come Town? Not to steal from them, but have you watched their analysis of The Departed? It's not even an analysis of the movie. It's an analysis of the opening the opening monologue from Jack Nicholson. Do you remember it?
Oh God, no. I'll pull this up after the podcast, dude.
Can I if I share my screen, can you hear it? It's so short.
I think it does share audio. Yeah.
We'll figure it out some other time.
It's Jack Nicholson being racist.
Yeah, it's funny. it really doesn't have much to do with it's like, I'm a hardo gangster from Boston, but like, it's also just like, fuck black people for like a minute.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty accurate to, yeah.
I mean, it does, as they said in the Cumtown thing, it certainly sets the environment for like a real Boston asshole.
Yes, absolutely. We do a little casual racism.
But Jack Nicholson's accent, I think, is kind of booty. Where is he from?
I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say he's from California.
He's from New Jersey.
Oh, never mind. He has no excuse. He should be able to at least approximate it pretty well.
Yeah. And where is Leo from? Because I don't remember.
He's definitely from California or something.
Yeah, he's from LA.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember his accent being like good, but I don't remember it being bad. I don't know. That movie has quite an incredible cast of Bostonians, though.
Oh, iconic, dude. Have you heard Nick's Iranian film bit?
No.
That is the funniest fucking shit.
Is that like just on you? If I search like Nick Mullen,
if you search like Cumtown Iranian, yeah.
Cumtown Nick Mullen talks about the cheating Iranian wife. No, Iran. There's a video just titled Iran. Maybe that's it. It's half an hour. It's one of those like highlights of all the time.
I think it's Mersham.
It's which one?
Mersham.
Mersham. That one's 7 minutes. Yeah, I'll have to click on that at some point.
There's just Are you speaking of movies, you're gonna see Dune?
Oh, I'm pumped for that.
Dude, I hope it's good. If it's not good, I have a good feeling that it'll at least be ridiculous and entertaining.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I have this weird interest that most people I don't think have, but like I'm really into film music. And Hans Zimmer is doing it. So I've listened to the score like 10 times in preparation for the movie. And so I think I'm excited to just like experience like a sci-fi movie in theaters. Oh, my voice has been cracking a lot again, and just like get that like classic Hans Zimmer, like epic sci-fi feeling. And I don't frankly really care whether it's like that. I don't know. Well, I've got this. I don't know if this is hot take material, but I've never like. I think that more people like Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, Chalamet.
Chalamet. I think he's so attractive that I think people overlook like whether or not he's actually like really is this like phenomenal young like I've never seen anything with him in it where I've been blown away by his acting necessarily.
Yeah, I thought he was really. Have you seen Lady Bird?
I think so. Let me look that one up.
It's like Saoirse Ronan is some like fucking.
Oh no, this is not one I've seen, but this looks like it got phenomenal reviews.
Yeah,
I've seen it different. There's a movie with him in it where it's all a bunch of women and it's like takes place like 100 years ago. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's what I thought Lady Bird was, but no, that clearly is not that. Is he good in that?
I thought he was good, but the question is just like I don't know how much acting is in there.
Oh,
or if he's just like
see it.
He's just like some like douchey guy, kind of. But
what have I seen him in though? I've seen him in. So, one of the first movies that I was forced to watch in my relationship was Call Me by Your Name, which I thought it was just terrible. Wait, he's in Interstellar? What the hell?
What? Is he the kid in Interstellar?
Is he the young kid? Wait, no, oh yeah, he's the boy version of McConaughey's son, who gets all cynical and gives up on him.
Doesn't he like turn into a redneck?
He turns into Casey Affleck.
Dude, that's hilarious.
That's incredible. Yeah. And then there's Murph. I need to watch that movie again.
Dude,
I don't want to move on from Timothy Chalamet because I didn't get to my original point. But that movie I have such a weird relationship with because I watched it on the plane when I was leaving to go study abroad in Spain, and it was a 6-hour flight, and I was in the middle seat between two women who were snoring. So there was it was what's it called, a red eye, where it's like a midnight to 6 a.m. flight or whatever. So I was tired, but there was just a 0% chance of sleep. It just wasn't happening. Nor was there really getting up to go to the bathroom and stretch my legs. Like these people were on some medication or something, because it was like, there was no sort of like gentle, like, excuse me, like I need to go to the bathroom, or like in order to get them to wake up, I had to shake them. And I don't really feel comfortable like just like shaking strangers. There was one time I had to like piss so bad. I think I just committed to it. And I was like, I grabbed her shoulder and did a little bit of that. And I was like, I need to go. But minus that, I was stuck. And they didn't have many movies and they all looked super unappealing. So I had never seen it before. I watched Interstellar back to back on the same flight. And I don't know if I've
better or worse.
I don't know. It got worse, but it was just because my experience of this long flight that felt like it was never going to end just wasn't move. It like the flight was just it was a bad flying experience. So watching it the second time was terrible. But it was just, I think it was more because I was in a bad mood. But since then, I've had this really weird association with the movie where I've like always wanted to watch it again, but I never have. It's associated with like being uncomfortable.
It's pretty good. I don't know.
Sure
I enjoyed it.
It's not like an all-time classic, but like it would be good enough to like go watch again.
I will say, if you like movie scores, the Interstellar score is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, well I listen to that on a very regular basis, and I'm into like making that kind of music, orchestral, like film score, or whatever. So I've watched every YouTube tutorial on the planet on like how to like make similar styles to like Hans Zimmer's score of Interstellar. So the score is incredible. And obviously Hans has worked with Chris Nolan a lot, and the two of them make good stuff. But anyways, Chalamet. The point I was getting at originally with Dune was that I'm not convinced that Chalamet or what's the actress who has one name?
Zendaya.
I don't think either of them are like good actors. So I'm like worried it's like might just be like. But then again,
apparently Zendaya
Carrie Fisher
really
and Mark
good.
Hamill are not good actors either, and that's what happened with Star Wars.
So that's a great point. I think Zendaya is pretty good. I don't know if you've seen Euphoria.
No, or maybe I've just only seen her in dumb things. It's
I
possible I've only ever seen her in the Spider-Man movies and nothing else.
She's pretty likable in the Spider-Man movies, though. I mean, her character is
I love the new Tom. What's his last name? Holland Spider-Mans. I love them. I don't like her MJ at all.
Really?
No.
I feel like you just don't like the kind of person who she's portraying.
I want MJ to be like. I want MJ to be like the like hot school star, and like because Tom Holland is this nerd who like turns out to be a superhero, like he can make it. Like I don't want her to also be like an introverted nerd. She needs to be like homecoming queen, like what she was in the.
I guess, dude, but then it's just kind of like, here we go. We've seen that dynamic.
I know, but it's like, but like already. I need it to reassure me that like I can be Spider-Man
so this
too.
Is your personal insecurities. That you need Zendaya to reassure you that like you can get with a popular girl, not just a introverted hot girl, but a popular hot girl. Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's my feeling on MJ. But also she like, I don't know. I feel like they didn't plan it well because they didn't set up her role to be like the love. They kind of did, but they didn't.
Yeah, it seems like they really.
Her role in the first movie wasn't big enough, and it felt like the whole movie, Tom Holland's relationship with the girl he was crushing on in the first movie, like there was nothing inherently problematic about that relationship. Like it felt like if that had worked out, like great, like that would have been cool. I mean, it sucks that her dad is like trying to kill you or whatever, but like. She's cool. It's like the new James Bond. It's whatever.
With what's her face?
With Madeline Swan, who's the daughter of Mr. White, and he's trying to kill Bond, and they're fine.
That ended up being exactly.
That's fine. And she was the way she was like portrayed in the first movie, like damn. I don't remember what the actress's name was or her name in the movie was, but anyways. Yeah, that's my concern for Doom, though, is that I'm not sure Zendaya and Chalamet can carry.
Dude, but there's so many other, like, capable actors there.
There are lots of other good actors in it.
Have you read Dune at all? Or like,
I haven't. I kind of want to before. Oh, Josh Brolin's in it. Have you seen Sicario?
No, I've heard nothing but good things though.
Oh my God, watch Sicario. Holy
who directed that? That guy's
it's someone who's really good. I'm tempted to say it's the same guy who did the third Harry Potter, and like he does like a bunch of random
Alfonso Cuarón. Yeah,
like I could be so wrong on this. Let me look this up. It's like I had that so wrong.
Oh, it's Denis Villeneuve. It's the same guy who's directing Dune.
Oh, lit. Well, that gives me hope that that's helpful. But Dune has I won't say anything about it until you've seen it because I don't want to say anything. So here's one issue looking at the cast and what I've seen on the trailer. I don't like that Stellan Skarsgård is going to be a villain. I don't think he's intimidating enough.
Dude, have you seen him as the villain though?
That I am only from what you can see in trailers. I haven't. Oh, Javier Bardem's in it. Jesus Christ, this cast is insane.
Right? This movie must cost this is like a $400 million movie, probably.
Yeah, but the budget's not even that. 165 million seems low.
Really? Are you serious?
I mean, according to just like basic Google search. I don't know. I mean,
it looks phenomenal.
It's a bunch of like good actors, but none of them are like Tom Hanks or like that grade, right?
I guess so.
I don't think any of them. I don't think Oscar Isaac or Jason Momoa yet can like say like we need that kind of money.
They're not quite there, but in my mind, they're getting there, dude.
But if they're all, how much does an actor get? Like, how much does an Oscar Isaac make for this kind of movie? I
don't know. I feel like I've seen Oscar Isaac in a lot of roles where I've been pretty impressed by him. So
I think he's a pretty good actor. But I will never. I wish so badly he hadn't been in that X-Men movie that was just the worst superhero movie. I think it's up there as the worst superhero movie to have ever been released.
In an X-Men movie.
He's the main villain.
Is he Apocalypse? Holy fuck. That's a fucking terrible casting decision.
Yeah, he was god awful, man. And I mean, there's nothing anybody could do to save that character. But like, man, that movie hurt my view of him. And also, what saved him in my mind was clearly how much everyone on the cast hated what happened with the new Star Wars trilogy. And if he'd been super into it and been like, look at me, I'm the new Luke Skywalker, like then I would have hated him probably. But I think like they all know that they were terrible.
God, they so screwed the pooch on that because he's like a pretty charismatic actor with like better writing. Like that could have been a cool character.
Which one are you referring to now? Apocalypse?
Poe Dameron in.
Yeah.
Actually, I will go as far to say is he seemed pretty cool in episode 7, and then every subsequent movie was just like made him.
Well, they after episode 7, they gave up on him and Finn, right? They basically said like we're done.
Yeah,
like we're gonna go
like,
all
Finn
in on Rey and Adam Driver.
Yeah,
and that got terrible. And oh my God, what a disaster! Have you watched The Bad Batch?
No, is it well done?
I'm not sure I really want to watch it. I don't know
if I care that much, to be honest with you.
And my only motivation is that like I like The Mandalorian so much. I'm like, okay, maybe the new Disney Plus content is actually okay. Maybe
I mean, you got to keep in mind this is a show for 12-year-olds, which is like fine. But
I have so much good positive memories of watching the original animated series that I'm almost like I want to. I don't know. Anyways, but I'm also like, so you know how I always got made fun of in school for like being that kid who rewatched the prequels all the time.
Yeah.
I've had this like revelation about myself, and that like part of my like anxiety is, I mean, it's not unique to me, but like I'm scared of doing new things. So I always resort to what is like comforting and I know will bring me whatever. And that carries over very heavily into my choice of like what I'm going to watch when I have a free evening. And I like the past 2 months, I've forced myself every time I go to watch a movie, I'm going to watch one I haven't seen before. And it has opened my eyes to a world where I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like this is awesome. Like bad movies are bad and I don't have to force myself to keep rewatching them.
So do you agree that the prequels are bad? All right, you know what?
They're fun, but they're bad. Yeah, they're really.
We can have a.
Well, no, I still will die on the hill that Revenge of the Sith is a quality movie. but I am willing to publicly acknowledge that episodes 1 and 2 are in abomination category. Like,
and I think so much of the YouTube community committed to like defending them is because they have interesting ideas that are like underlying the story, but the actual execution is dog shit.
The execution is dog shit. I think what they do the best, and this could be a whole nother topic itself too, but I think if you had just like written a summary of episodes 1, 2, and 3 on like a Wikipedia page and read it, and then you go and watch episodes 4, 5, and 6, I think it actually does add to the original trilogy in how Luke's character evolves and looking at what the evolution on paper of what happened with Anakin. I think actually like, and the way he turned bad and the issues with the Jedi Council, whatever, all that cringe dumb stuff. I do actually think that that's kind of cool. But yeah, the execution of the movies and the plots within those movies themselves, if that trilogy existed in its own universe, there's no redeeming qualities.
Imagine if the whole trilogy had just been set during the Clone Wars and we pick up like in
oh my god,
res.
It would have been so much better. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, if those movies had never came out and they just like the Clone Wars show had been made into like it wasn't like purely animated, like it was made with TV shows weren't what they were back then. And even now to a certain extent, like actors prefer to be in movies.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. But yeah, have you watched the whole animated show?
Clone Wars? I've seen some of it, but it's been a long time. And I've seen some shit on YouTube. And anyway,
have you watched, do you know Cosmonaut Variety Hour? He's pretty funny.
Yes. Yeah. He has
a video on the Clone Wars. And I think he sums up a lot of it really well.
Which is that it makes the prequels better, right? Is kind of his whole.
That's part of it, but also more, it's just like, it's not taking itself too seriously. And it's like he's like, this is sort of a way of recognizing that we've got this classic original trilogy. Let's not try and match it necessarily. Let's just like have fun with the clone. Like there's so much fun to be had with the Clone Wars and just showing them on screen. Like we don't need to have all sorts of in-depth plot twists and whatever the heck. Like let's just have fun with the Clone Wars. And like everyone wants to watch like lightsaber battles between clones and droids and whatever.
Which ironically puts the Clone Wars way more tonally consistent with the original trilogy, which is at the end of the day just an entertaining 3 like science fantasy movies. So having the Clone Wars be like science fantasy war TV show as opposed to whatever the fuck the first 2 prequels were trying to be.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing I will say about the later seasons of the animated show is that it does get into like deep Star Wars lore that like the prequels don't even come close to. I mean, did you get far enough where you watched, there's a whole episode that is Darth Maul and Palpatine having a lightsaber duel. Like that's sick. That was one of the highlights of that. I thought that was incredible. Like Maul becomes like his own like main villain. Yeah. It was, and he's like rivaling with Palpatine.
Like that's awesome. Talk about
that's really
fucking cool. Drop plot. So like imagine take all of the good plot threads from the Clone Wars and just like collapse them down and maybe shave off some stuff and just make it a trilogy out of that. Like imagine
could even like cut and you could cut certain things and like kind of keep Revenge of the Sith as the end of it.
Actually that's kind of what I was thinking in my mind.
But what would be so great about that is that like the show, like if you build an emotional connection with like the Jedi who are all being killed, like that would be awesome. And it would make it feel much more impactful when Plo Koon and all these other like dumb looking lizard people are just
gunned down,
just letting themselves die. I mean, that scene is sad. Like it makes me cry every time because I'm a nerd, but it's just stupid. These idiots we're supposed to believe are like the best whatever Jedi on the planet. And the scene in Revenge of the Sith where the 4 go to arrest Palpatine, you're telling me that these motherfuckers have been fighting droids for like 20 years with their lightsabers, and all it takes is Palpatine like one like slash and like their hands are like up like this.
Like,
and then there's the girl Jedi on Felicia, who I only know because I played so much Star Wars Battlefront, the name of the planet. But she's just like, the clones are behind her and you can like see in her face, she knows it's about to happen. And she just like doesn't even go for a lightsaber. She just like lets herself get shot in the back. The only one who tried was the guy on the snowy planet with the long first one to go, Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah.
He at least kind of tries. And I mean, of course, like Yoda does whatever. I don't know. I thought that scene could have been, if over the course of like a show or something, we had built all these connections with just like tons of different Jedi, and that scene was like built into like a much bigger thing on its own. That could have been so cool and so like emotionally devastating in a way that like would have been, I don't know, it would have been fun. And what would have been cool about that too is it would have brought a whole nother level of hatred for the bad guys in the original trilogy.
Oh, for sure.
If we actually like hated them, because I kind of don't. The Jedi suck in the original trilogy.
the Jedi are like, no one's allowed to have any fun. We kidnap children, and we also like, exert maybe some undue influence on the galaxy, which is kind of the point. And they kind of bring this up and then back off from it hardcore in like episode 8, which is such a fucking pussy move.
Yeah.
If they had
I wish Rian Johnson had just directed all three of those.
Yeah, honestly,
that would have worked well, probably, because I think he's self-aware enough to recognize, like, all right, in order for this to work, if I'm going to get Star Wars fans to like this, there needs to be, it doesn't need to be the whole thing, but there needs to be some recognition of like what we've fucked up on in the past, and like sure, we'll have all our fun, cool lasers and whatever to get all the young kids who are new to Star Wars into it, but we also need to recognize like. We can't just like pretend like the prequels didn't happen. Keep going, because they're so. But I mean, the Jedi are just, they're like authoritarian. They're like every criticism of the United States military that is valid into one organization. Like they're just, they exist with no rules and regulations. They make every decision as to what's right and wrong. They're not elected. They're a problematic organization in every way, shape, and form. And if you're not allowed to have a relationship with anyone. Also, by the way, more proof that they suck. Anakin's off making out and sleeping with Padme in public, like on Coruscant.
No one noticed.
And you're like, Yoda had maybe some like doubts about Anakin's character, but he didn't know. Are you kidding me?
And no one looked into this.
Obi-Wan has been interacting with a pregnant Padme for months, and it isn't until Anakin finally kills some children that he comes to the realization that that's Anakin's kid in her stomach. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, and to be fair, the Clone Wars kind of patched that over by saying that like Obi-Wan also had a relationship, and he didn't want to like call out Anakin because like they both kind of know what's going on with each other.
Yeah, but if you could say Obi-Wan's just trying to protect Padme. Yeah, if for someone who is only watching the movies, it makes no sense.
Obi-Wan just looks like a moron.
Also, there's no explanation of. There's so many things like in the second one, when you realize like Jedi, whatever the heck the name of the Jedi was who ordered the name of the clone army and his relationship to Dooku and all. There's so much like,
come on.
Yeah. There's all sorts of cool lure there. But if you just watch the movies, you have no clue who the hell they're talking about or what's going on. You wouldn't really have any understanding of who Dooku is. It's hard to gauge just based off the second movie. like what's going on with him.
It's genuinely incredibly confusing as a casual viewer, because it's like, okay, he's like some kind of space count, I guess, but he's also like maybe a Sith. Like, what is going on here?
But also, okay, you know what it may not need to be us, but some podcast out there needs to do a whole analysis like of the clip where Dooku captures Obi-Wan for the first time on Geonosis and is like interrogating him, and he walks into the room and he's like, Obi-Wan, there must be some kind of mistake. Like he pretends to be on Obi-Wan's side. And there's no clear at some point, and Obi-Wan's like, I will never join you. But he's like, no, but we're on the same side. And then like, you can't, there's no following that conversation. The dialogue is
completely
doesn't make any sense. Dooku walks in, having captured Obi-Wan Kenobi, having put him in like a chain or like put him on the virtual cross with like blue light.
Sure.
And Obi-Wan's like, you evil traitor. And Dooku's like, there must be some kind of mistake here. Like someone screwed up putting you on this cross.
Obi-Wan's like, dude, it was you. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, take me down then, buddy. But like Obi-Wan clearly knows he's working for the Sith, but they also don't know that the Sith are back. Like what?
Well, he knows he's with the Separatists, right?
Yeah, I guess. Maybe that's what it is.
Which, to be fair, the fact that the Separatists and the Trade Federation are two different factions didn't even register with me until like a month ago, where I was reading wiki entries.
I've watched Star Wars. I'm confident in saying that I've watched Star Wars more than anyone I know in my personal life. Certainly not more than some nerds online. But I didn't. I'm not sure I knew that those were two different factions.
So this is the deep lore is that the Separatists is a greater like galaxy wide movement that may or may not happen to include the Trade Federation.
Okay, so the Separatists. So the other ironic part about it, and this is what a lot of movies need to do better, and it's one that like whenever we get into the James Bond like that needs to be discussed. Movies need to do a better job of just like. Just because we've got a main character who's been prescribed the good guy doesn't inherently mean that those of us who can think like we'll just be like, okay, good guy, good, bad guy, bad.
Right.
Like the Republic sucks. Everything about it sucks, and there's so much room. I mean, I guess maybe that's kind of why. Maybe that's intentional in Star Wars, and that they're trying to paint it in that way so that that you can rebuild better at the end of the original trilogy, but that rebuild is all for nothing because like Luke is actually not the character who we're meant to think he is at the end of episode 6 because he goes to kill a fucking emo Adam Driver at the age of 16.
I was thinking about that, and I feel like one of the major influences for Luke's characterization in The Last Jedi is Logan.
Oh my God, I hated that movie.
Oh, okay. Well, then we have a difference of opinion there. But
everyone loves that movie. I think I'm the only person on the planet who didn't enjoy it.
What do you not like about it?
I just didn't find it. So the X-Men series for me was like a fun series. And I think if you're going to go for something that's that serious, I think superhero movies, like the safe bet is to go for something kind of fun and Marvel-y, right? Like it's going to do well and it's going to be fun and you can have some cool characters and what. If you want to like create like an all-timer, you get into some real dark shit with what superheroes are dealing with, and that's like a Dark Knight. And I think that's what Logan was going for, was that. What didn't work for me was that we've got this whole background of like fun sci-fi X-Men movies, and then all of a sudden we jump to all the X-Men are dead because this one guy who's been like the saving grace of all the other movies has like just gotten old and like lost control.
Dude, but that's like the point of the movie. It's an emotional gut punch that's basically like, yeah, the world will like fuck you over and break you down.
I wasn't like, I'm not, maybe I'm like emotionally weak or whatever, but I couldn't get over that from the get-go. I was like, all of these characters who I've built a connection with over watching all these dumb X-Men movies and gotten into it, they're all just dead because Charles Xavier got old and like got dementia. And then it didn't, and Logan's motivation throughout the whole movie was it made sense, but it was confusing.
What do you think his motivation is? Because I think
he's just like ready to, I think it's like, I don't know. My experience of it was like, he's sort of known for a long time that he's been alive longer than a human being should be alive for, and like needs to come to peace with moving on. And so it was like, and he's sort of in this like unhealthy way has like always been sort of like, he's not suicidal, but he's like never scared of like, he'll just go and fight whoever. Cause he's like, whatever, if I die, whatever, but he's not like actually at peace with dying yet, like emotionally. So I thought the movie was kind of that. It was like, let's try and bring Logan to a place where we can move on from this character in a way where he comes to peace with the fact that like the only way to actually resolve his character is for him to die. Cause he's like, his whole thing is like, he can't die and get hurt. And he's like living in this world where people keep dying in front of him. And like, I don't know. That was kind of my takeaway. I don't know if you disagree.
Because my read on his motivation from the very start of the movie is his whole plan is he wants to basically like take Professor X out on the fucking boat and take him away from civilization and give him like last few happy days until he dies and then kill himself. Yeah. And that's Logan's endgame. That's like all he wants to do.
So I'm forgetting now, how is it that does something happen to him in the movie where his powers become limited?
Yeah, I mean, like his powers are gradually like kind of failing him just because he's like at that point like almost 200 years old and he's got like the adamantium skeleton is poisoning him, and he's had it in for about, I think, like 70 years at that point. So like his healing factor is basically just like slowly declining because it can't keep up with the adamantium that's poisoning his system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he can still heal, kinda, but it gets like worse and worse as the movie goes on.
So minus the children who are being produced in a lab to be X-Men, or they wouldn't be called X-Men, but what are they referred to by like the public in those movies? Like
they're mutants.
Mutants. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So in Logan, the only mutants left on the planet are those being produced in the lab. Stephen Merchant's creepy white. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, guy who's never really explained, but
who's just creepy as all. Oh my god, I hated that character. Logan and Professor X, right? That's it. That's all that's left, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I remember wondering, and not that it actually would impact my feelings on the movie, but why is it that what's the word? I hate that I can't think of the word. When things are all white, what are they called?
Albino.
Yeah. Why is it that albino Stephen Merchant is alive? How
honestly, I don't really know.
Professor X, like something about like Logan's healing or whatever. I don't know. Like he's fine, whatever. Like he survived shit he shouldn't survive. Why? Why is if the sun comes on to me for a second, I die, still like cooking?
I don't know.
But I didn't like the whole. I wasn't a fan of the vibe of turning this into like going all in on the like evil lab genetic experiment thing. Like I thought they kind of did that in X3, and I was ready to move on from like evil scientists. And so I don't know. I just wasn't. I didn't think that the. I get that the whole point of the movie it had to do with like the main point was Logan and Charles's like their relationship, and they're coming to peace with moving on from all the things they've done. And it was all about them. It wasn't even about the villains, but I thought the villains sucked. And I was bored of them, just like evil scientists who like want to create genetic freaks that they can use for their.
But that to me is
boring.
That to me is almost kind of works thematically with, and this sounds like a little bit of a cop out, and it kind of is, but just like the world has moved on from like the era of superheroes. Now it's just like a fucking pharmaceutical company that's like laced all the like fructose or the high fructose corn syrup in the world with like the thing that makes mutant genes toggle off, and they're producing like kids as weapons. It's not like some grand villain conspiracy. It's just like people just trying to make money. Yeah. And that's literally it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense as like a realistic outcome of given that world, what might happen, given the circumstances. Like it totally makes sense in that way. My like disappointment in it really has nothing to do with whether or not that it makes sense. It's just like boring to me.
And
I also, generally speaking, there are times that you can pull it off. For the most part, I am not a fan of villains who are like the anti-hero, like directly, like the Logan copy, or in the Incredible Hulk. Tim Roth's character in the Incredible Hulk. Like, I don't want my main hero to be, because what's dumb about it a lot of the time is that the villain is an upgrade. Like the villain should always win. Like Tim Roth's Hulk was stronger. This Logan was better, and I guess he kind of does win.
I mean, he does win.
So yeah, in fairness though, but a lot of the time I hate that. Like I hate when it's so obvious that the villain should win and the hero only wins because he's the hero, and the movie needs to end on a happy note. God, there's so many rabbit holes to go down. I don't want to go there, but it like after the first two movies in the MonsterVerse, I began to become less interested because I just couldn't begin to even convince myself that in this world where Godzilla and King Kong both exist, that like they're like on somehow an even remotely even playing field. But anyways,
wait, which one do you think is stronger?
If Godzilla can shoot lasers out of his mouth, I don't care about a big gorilla. It doesn't matter.
The gorilla has an axe, dude. He's got a big axe.
Godzilla can breathe underwater. This gorilla can't. Like I don't care. Godzilla is also 10 times bigger than, I don't know. Godzilla also throughout those whole movies, he's so goddamn slow. he moves
he's
like
fat. He's not like a lean guy.
If I want to, every single fight he gets in with someone who looks like they're remotely on the same playing field, Godzilla looks to me, based off the way they show it in the fight scene, that he should lose all of them. And he only comes back to win because he's like, he's got some moral imperative to like, I am king of the monsters. Like no bad monsters. I am good monsters. I must survive and like protect the earth from the bad. I don't know. Not to take those movies too seriously because they're not meant to be taken seriously, and I love them. But I loved the first two. I began to like be like, okay, I can't get as emotionally invested this when they did the fourth one with Kong versus Godzilla versus Kong. I loved the third one, actually. It was really just the fourth one that I had problems with. The third one, the King of the Monsters, where there's a bajillion different monsters. That was fun.
Is that movie good?
I loved it. They have what's the dad Lannister? Not like Tyrion's dad. Do you remember the name by any chance?
Fuck.
Well, it doesn't matter, but you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Tywin?
So.
Is that right? Tywin?
Not
Tywin?
Is it Tywin?
I think Tyrion's the midget and Tywin's the dad.
Yes, Tywin's the dad. So Tyrion's dad.
Yeah. So the actor of him plays a. This is another movie where if it was meant to even be taken remotely seriously, he's one of the main villains, but he's like an environmental terrorist where his motivation is like human, like look at climate change and shit. Like the human species needs to go in order to save the planet, and that's his motivation. He's trying to. He recognizes that so long as the monsters like Godzilla exist, they will protect the earth or something. They will protect those who live on the earth or something. Like that's their like purpose in life. So we need to kill the monsters so that we can kill the humans so that the earth can heal.
Okay, so his end game is to kill all the monsters so he can do mass genocide.
I think he like brings back one like ultra monster, which is actually kind of lame. Like it was just like a serpent, or not a serpent. What's the evil monster that's like in like Greek myths and stuff where it's got like a head and you cut one off
the Hydra
or grow. Yeah, it was one of those. That was like the main big monster that I think that was like Godzilla's main rival, and he was like trying to bring that monster back so that it would kill Godzilla. And then like the whole like Godzilla was like the king of the food chain on Earth, and like if you take out the top, then the rest will fall, I think was like his motivation.
Which is exactly how ecosystems work.
Yeah. Like I don't know. The thing was the whole movie, it was like I kind of like this guy.
He's not wrong.
The world they're painting is one in which monsters are popping up this, that, and the other place because humans have leaked too much radiation into the earth that we're bringing back all these monsters that live on radiation. We're killing the planet. In that world where like people are just dying by the millions because like a monster wakes up from a nap that it's been in for millions of years. Yeah, I'm kind of for like moving on from the human species. I kind of was like, okay, like ready to
understandable. Have a nice day.
I think I understand your perspective here, sir. I don't really care about the government like whatever. The governments that still exist and the good guys. Also, Millie Bobby Brown's character is stupid as heck, but that's
Millie Bobby Brown is in the. All right, well,
you can't have a monster verse in which it's like the whole point is like hardo soldiers and men fighting monsters, and then like the main character is like a little girl who's gonna like fight the monsters and like become
with the power of love.
Yeah, if I just love my monster enough, he'll love me back, and then I don't know. I don't like that. I didn't like that there was a little girl who could perfectly communicate with King Kong, and this is revealed to us at the end of the fourth movie, or not even at the end, maybe midway through. But I didn't like that. Like all of a sudden, okay, we can just have full conversations with Kong, as you and I are speaking, just with sign language.
Like Kong shouldn't even be able to converse. He's a big monkey. They don't.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of taking Kong off of his island. Like. That's where Kong exists, and that's where he needs to stay. And I don't like that the whole movie he wasn't there.
He'll probably will he go back to the island though?
No, because have you seen it?
No, I haven't. Feel free to spoil it though. Because
do you care if I'm spoiling? I
if I watch it,
chatting for a little while, and we should probably stop soon. But anyways, the plot of the fourth one is that so there's like some government. Like secret government organization, whatever, that's like whole thing is about like monsters and what I don't remember the name. I think it's called Monarch actually. And And so they're like,
yeah.
They after they discover this, so the original King Kong movie with Tom Hiddleston and John Goodman and all them, it's about like discovering Kong's Island or whatever, and it's like a Monarch-led trip to go and discover the island. And after that, Monarch like sets up shop, and so the fourth movie starts with like there's a whole lab there, and they've contained him, which in and of itself, like I didn't like that. Like they've put like a giant like bubble around a small portion of the island, and they've trapped him there. And there's like a little girl who like we discovered can like actually just like talk with him and like have full conversations.
And like Kong wouldn't stand for that.
Yeah,
like, this whole premise
the opening scene is him running like he's in control of his island, and we're like here's Kong that we remember from the last movie, and then he like picks up a tree and like just hucks it at the sky, and we're like, what the fuck is he doing? And it hits the sky, and the whole sky blows up, and you're like, what? Like, what's going on? And it's one of those like they're in like an invisible dome, and he's like pissed that he's trapped in his dome. So he can throw a whole tree, which breaks a section at the top, but he can't like bash his way out like where he is on the ground.
Yeah, that doesn't really seem terribly believable.
Yeah. Anyways, but then Godzilla. So the premise is that there's like evil people who are trying to create this thing to allow them to control. It's like they're trying to like control them. I might have this wrong. They're trying to like control the monsters in some way. With this machine that this organization is building, and like they've convinced the whole public that they're like saving the planet or whatever, but it's actually a machine which is like in some way it's going to like wake up more monsters, or it's going to do something bad, and Godzilla knows that it's going to do something bad somehow, so he's like coming in and destroying all the cities where this organization has like plants or like factories and stuff. And so like the whole world's like, all right, Godzilla was good, now he's bad. And so then we're going to steal Kong from his island and have him fight Godzilla to say. So throughout the whole movie, we're like, humanity thinks that Kong is actually the real good guy and Godzilla is now a bad guy. And then you discover along the way that all the monsters came from this underworld that actually exists. And we travel back and forth between this portal between like Kong's original home. The whole point was that Kong's not actually from his island. He's from this underworld that like, that's like the exact like Greek underworld where you get back and forth through like invisible portals, and like him and Godzilla can like actually like talk back and forth. And then at the end of the movie, the bad monster isn't even a monster. It's just robot Godzilla that this company that's actually the evil company all along had been building, and Kong and Godzilla team up to destroy the robot monster. And anyways, I don't remember even where the hell I was going, but I just hated that. Like, the whole movie, like Kong exists in this underworld where there's just a bunch of monsters and it's like primitive humanity. And then like, I don't know.
Or just like inexplicably down there.
Yeah. And like I guess that's just where Kong's from. And then that's where all the monsters like live before they come at it got too specific. Like you learned too much where it took away from like the lure of like, it was kind of cool that monsters were just like coming out of like the earth.
Yeah. Why do you need to know? It's just,
and all of a sudden we know that like under the core of the earth, there's actually just like another earth. In which like gravity is flipped. So there's the ground and then there's the ground, and you can be on the one ground, and if you jump high enough, you're on this ground.
Oh, so it's like the gravity in between zone.
Yeah.
That's not confusing at all. Okay.
Which doesn't even logistically make any sense. Like, why would, when you think about the earth, it's the polarization. Is that what it is?
It's the exact point in the middle where the pull from the mass at the internal part.
That must be what it is.
And the external part
we're meant to believe that the dead middle of the earth is just grass. There's no sunlight, but it's just grass and trees, and it's where the monsters live.
And dude, it's magic. It doesn't matter.
It is pretty magical, I will say. Anyways, that movie lost me. I was like, all right, we're getting into too much. But the other thing is like Millie Bobby Brown is like friends with Godzilla or something, and she like communicates with, she like gives him enough energy through some machine or whatever to like fight the robot. I don't know.
That's this fucking stupidest thing.
That's where it lost me. It's like, no, this is not why I'm watching this, to see a little girl like connect with a monster because she doesn't actually have any real people friends.
Dude, they should just do the ending of Pacific Rim to every one of those movies. They shoot a nuke through a portal, and that's it.
Yeah. Dude, the two of us need to get into Pacific Rim because I thought it was fun. I wasn't blown away. I thought it was average.
But the thing is, if you compare it to all the other giant robot fighting movies, it comes out pretty well.
No, you're right. But I think it's just maybe what it is it's an acceptance in my mid-20s that like robot monster fighting movies, there's no possible world in which you create like a genuinely quality film. Like that's as good as we can get. And I'm coming to terms with that. And it really is sad.
Unless you want to start watching fucking anime, which I don't. So
the only thing I hated about it, and let me just say, the main character, his whole thing is like the only way it works to function. I don't like it's like mystic, magical voodoo connection shit where like in order to run it, like we need to have this like bond. And if you're going to do it, it makes sense to have him and his brother be compatible. Him and some random Asian girl he's never met, like being secretly compatible made no sense to me. I didn't like that he like fell in love with her and like it didn't make.
No, the reason they're compatible is because of the shared trauma of having loved ones killed by the monsters.
But in that world, how many it's like knowing someone who's died from cancer. It's like just because I meet someone on the street and my whatever died from cancer, like I'm not like compatible.
That definitely is like willing suspension of disbelief, because at first it's cool. It's like, of course, he and his twin brother, maybe not twin, slightly older brother, I think, like have a link because they grew up together and they know each other really well. But just like this random woman from like halfway across the world, like, I guess.
I think I would have enjoyed the movie more had it just been him and his brother. And all what I really like, there's something cool about building a connection with the different like machines and like the different pairings in them, and like they each represent some sort of cool, like there's kind of like the Russian one and there's the Chinese one, and like there's something cool about that for me. It was like as a kid I loved like Power Rangers or whatever, like in the weird connection with the different robots that are all making up the good guys. There's something fun about that, and I liked like, but I would have enjoyed it more had it just been those two brothers like fighting alongside with 50 other, and slowly just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and there's only so many left, and then maybe at the end the brother has to die or whatever to like beat
counterpoint though. That main actor has the charisma of a fucking wooden board.
The brother?
No, not
or
the
main character.
The main guy.
Yeah, he's they could have found a much better actor. What's it? Charlie Hunnam. Yeah, he's in What he is to me is the problem with him is that he's just a diet Tom Hardy. Like he's too similar to Tom Hardy that like I feel like he's probably not actually doing this himself, but in every movie I've seen him in, he just comes across as like wannabe Tom Hardy, which it just makes him inherently lame. Like he's not.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Did you see The Gentleman?
Is that the Tom Hardy movie where he plays?
It's Tom Hardy's not in it. It's McConaughey, Colin Farrell, Henry Golding, Hugh Grant, and this guy Charlie Hunnam and Michelle Dockery from. Anyways, and Jeremy Strong. It's like a really cool like 2019 like gangster movie. But it's about like weed. It's about like the monopolization of weed that's illegal in the UK, and it's like a gangster movie, and it's that it reminds you of that like 90s like Scorsese. You know what I'm referring to?
Yeah.
So it could have been so fun. The problem with it, the biggest problem for me that held back was that the same actor, Charlie, whatever the heck, Hunnam, he looks so similar to Tom Hardy. And like we got like 20 minutes into the movie and I thought it was Tom Hardy. And then you slowly realize like this guy is not Tom Hardy. He's not that cool. And it took away from the movie a lot for me. It was like if it had just been Tom Hardy, I would have enjoyed it so much more. So anyways, that's part of it. They could have, if Tom Hardy had been in Pacific Rim, it probably would have been like a 95 out of 100 in my head.
Fair enough.
And anyways, we've been on this for so long.
I got to take a shit, but I have a content idea I want to run by you. You've seen all the prequels enough that you probably don't need to do this, but what if I rewatch episode 1 and we reconvene and talk through episode 1 and then whatever tangents happen. It's just a vehicle for
it's just a way to get started let's analyze the Star Wars films and go from there.
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
And see, and whatever tangents happen. Yeah, no, I fuck with that. Let's do it.
And if nothing else, it'll be an easy way in. All right, well, I will get on that. We'll schedule a follow-up and circle back.
All right.
And re-synergize.
Sounds good.
All right, put a pin in it.
All right. Well, I'm going to listen back to this at some point and see if there's anything that's even remotely funny and see what was good and wasn't. And we'll move on from there. I'll give you a detailed report at our next meeting.
Excellent. All right. Well, until next time.
All right. Later.